Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another presidential election prediction 2024. Today, I will be doing a prediction between Ron DeSantis versus Pete Buttigieg. Ron DeSantis, obviously the current governor of Florida, up for re-election in the 2022 midterms, and Pete Buttigieg, the current Secretary of Transportation and former mayor of South Bend, Indiana. And he was also a candidate for president in 2020 until he dropped out after Joe Biden won the South Carolina primary. Without further ado, Ron DeSantis obviously has a very good shot at being the nominee in the Republican Party, and Pete Buttigieg has a good shot at being the Democrat nominee in his party, given that Joe Biden, in all likelihood, or not in all likelihood, but there is a pretty significant chance will not run, and Kamala Harris is not particularly liked in the Democrat Party as it is. Pete Buttigieg obviously did better than expected, being not much of a prominent person before he ran. Definitely has the shot to win the nomination at least. So anyway, let's get right to the map. I'm going to start off with the safe Democrat states as usual. The whole West Coast is safe. I'm not really going to get specifically into the margins of all of the East Coast states or West Coast states. So actually, yeah, I'll just keep Maine's first as safe, and that's pretty much it for the Democrats. Let's get the Republican safe states done. I think DeSantis and Buttigieg. I actually think DeSantis, though, has a greater suburban appeal, while Buttigieg still has its suburban appeal. I think DeSantis slightly better. So I do think DeSantis will do a bit better in Virginia than Trump did, and in Nebraska second, and Georgia, and some other states. But anyway, that's 181 to 185 electoral votes. And let's get to the likely Republican states this time. Why not? So I think DeSantis does have that Trump appeal. I think he'll do good in the Rust Belt Midwest area. I'm going to give him Iowa as a likely Republican state, as well as Ohio. These states have continued to shift to the right. With Trump under the belt, DeSantis obviously would be running under the Trump wing of the party. Definitely not more of a moderate wing. That's why he'd be the nominee. And I do think he'd frankly do really well. I think he's probably slightly better candidate than Trump. Or not a slightly better candidate than Trump, because I did put Trump ahead, but I do think DeSantis has more of appeal to suburban areas, which I guess that's the one benefit from Trump, but Trump obviously has won the election before. But anyway, DeSantis, I'm not going to give him Maine second just because I just don't know yet how well and how likely he would be in the East Coast, obviously from Florida. Buttigieg probably would do better in the East Coast, but I will give him Iowa and Ohio as likely, and that's going to be all for now. And likely Democrat states will be Colorado, New Mexico, Virginia, and Maine at large. Buttigieg, obviously, from the East Coast. Anyway, let's get to the lean Republican states. A lean Republican state will be Texas. I think that Texas, DeSantis will still win by a lean margin, probably 3 to 4 points. Obviously continues to trend to the left. Trump won it by about 9 points in 2016, 5 points in 2020. Obviously, Romney won it by about 14 points in 2012. But I think DeSantis will hold Texas at least for another election cycle in the 2020s. Just because I do think he does have that appeal. Hispanic support obviously continuing to trend to the right, and a slightly better suburban appeal, although Buttigieg does have a slightly good suburban appeal as well. Another lean Republican state will be Florida, obviously his home state. He is pretty popular there at the moment. Obviously, maybe lost a little bit of approval with the coronavirus at the moment, but I still think he will retain his popularity and still win by Florida in maybe about 3 to 4 points. Very liked in Florida, or at least with Republicans and with Cubans, Venezuelans, Puerto Ricans, people that have experienced, I guess, what you call socialism, communism, and that's what they label the Democrat Party at the moment, whether you agree or disagree with that. Another lean Republican state will be Maine second. That is just some state, a district that has trended to the right, I guess you would say, pretty quickly, pretty significantly, so that's why I'm not entirely sure of the volatility of it, because it went to Obama by about 10 points, and then to Trump by about 8 points, and then Trump won it again by 7 points. So I don't know how much or how far it is to the right or to the left, but I think DeSantis has that Trump appeal, and he still do pretty good in Maine second. I just don't know the district well enough to make a large characterization over it. And I'm going to do one more lean state, and I'm going to put Wisconsin as a lean Republican state as it continues to shift to the right. Obviously, Biden had a slight shift back, but he only won Wisconsin by 0.5 points. Biden's supposed to be one of the most, has one of the Democrat with the highest chance of doing well in the Rust Belt. One of them at least. Maybe you could include a few others in there, but really Biden's about it. And only wins it back by 0.5 points. Obama won Wisconsin by like 7 points in 2012, so a clear shift. 2024, I think it'll go to DeSantis by about 1 to 2 points. I consider that a lean margin. And I'm actually going to include one more state as a lean margin for DeSantis. I know we have a lot of lean states for DeSantis, and that's just how it is, I guess. I'm going to include North Carolina as a lean DeSantis state, another suburban state, and a state that I think DeSantis will probably win by about 2 points. Trump won it by 3.7 in 2016, then won it by about 1.8 in 2020, actually 1.9. DeSantis probably won it by about 2 points as well, and I count that in the lean margin. When you look at obviously you can see the margins below in the description. I consider what's lean likely margins. Anyway, now let's get to lean Democrat states. I think that New Hampshire is a lean Democrat state. Obviously, the East Coast, or not, yeah, the Northeast. Not DeSantis, Buttigieg. Buttigieg popular in the Northeast and does have more of an appeal there. Minnesota, another lean state. Buttigieg still will be able to retain Minnesota, even though it trends to the right. Biden did win it back by a pretty good margin, and I guess you could, talk about how he did do that. And Buttigieg maybe will continue that trend. Minnesota will continue to go to Buttigieg by a lean margin, maybe 3-4 points, maybe 3 points, but still retaining Buttigieg. And that's going to be all for now. I'm not going to include Nevada. I don't know how inclined Hispanics will be to vote for Buttigieg. I just don't think that he's the type of person, especially in a state like Nevada and Arizona, that Hispanics are that willing to come out for. I guess you could just say you would consider him rich, white, I guess like elitist type of guy, kind of seems very educated. And I just don't think that more of like the Hispanic people, especially in Nevada and Arizona, will be that inclined to come out and vote for him in as big a margins as they would vote for even somebody like Joe Biden, who I guess you could consider more of a middle class type of guy, or even Obama. Buttigieg just does not have that middle class appeal. Maybe he has a suburban appeal for suburban women, but not a middle class appeal, in my mind. Anyway, let's get to tilt Democrat. I'll still include Nevada as a tilt Democrat. I still think Buttigieg will hold on to it, just not by as large a margin as some other states. I think that Buttigieg will also tilt Michigan. He'll still hold on to Michigan by an extremely thin margin as it continues to trend to the right. Biden did win it back by about 2 points. I think that Buttigieg will probably win it by about 0.2, 0.3%, holding it on till at least 2028. But I don't think he has the Rust Belt appeal. I just think he'll hold it on simply by the trends holding up for him at least one more election cycle. Obviously, Obama, Biden, maybe not Biden, but Obama campaigning for him, a few other people, he can hold on to that state. Let's do some tilt Republican states. I see Pennsylvania being a tilt Republican state, obviously continuing to trend to the right. Similar reasons as Wisconsin, just Pennsylvania trending at, I guess, a slightly slower pace than Wisconsin. I also see Georgia being tilted to the right, so obviously DeSantis wins the election. Georgia tilts to the right. I think that DeSantis will help win it back, the state Trump lost. I think that he has that suburban appeal, and I don't think that the black community, especially in Atlanta, will be that inclined to vote for Pete Buttigieg either. And I'm not trying to say this out of any bias or anything, but the black community especially is very much against what you would consider, I guess, like the pro-LGBTQ type of thing. And obviously Pete Buttigieg, a gay male, I just don't know how inclined they'll be to come out and vote for him, especially inner city African Americans, not as, I guess what you could say, politically correct. And I don't really know. I don't really think they'll come out for him in that big of a margin as they would for somebody like Stacey Abrams, even though he's a Democrat. I just don't think that will happen. Similar to Arizona, which I'll also give to DeSantis. I'll flip back those two states maybe one last time for the Republicans. Hispanics will come out and actually vote for DeSantis, I think, giving him that state. And I'm going to give DeSantis Nebraska second. I think he'll flip that district. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give it to Pete Buttigieg. I actually think Pete Buttigieg will hold on to it. He does have that suburban area. Nebraska, second, a very suburban area of the country. And it has flipped back and forth. Obviously, voted for Obama. Actually, no, it voted for Obama over McCain, Romney over Obama, Trump over Clinton, Biden over Trump. Tends to vote for the more, I guess, I don't even know, but it tends to vote for the type of candidate where, they would help feel safer and stronger in somebody who has that suburban appeal. In 2008, I think McCain just did not McCain just seemed very weak. 2012, I think that people were actually, with Obama, when you look at the policies back then, the economy wasn't as coming back as they much as hoped, and I think that Romney provided stability, and they voted for him there. Voted for Trump in 2016 because Hillary they just did not like, in my mind, and Biden because they didn't like Trump. So we'll see what happens. I think Buttigieg does have that likability in the suburbs. But anyway, let's translate this map to see what the new electoral map in 2024 would look like between these two candidates, in my mind, of course. So obviously it's all one color, so it's not hard to think about. But there you have it, 291, 247. DeSantis beats Pete Buttigieg in the election and becomes the 47th president in the United States of America, going from the 46th governor of Florida to the 47th governor of America. Not governor of America, president of America, excuse me. 291, 247. Anyway, thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're at 132 subscribers. Keep up the count. I really appreciate all the support. I love making videos, and I will continue to do so. Hopefully, I don't know if it's going to be as frequent as every 2 days, but hopefully we can keep it a few times a week would be, maybe not a few times a week would be good. And just please come out and support. I really appreciate everything, and I hope to grow this channel going into the future, because I don't plan to stop making any other video, I don't plan to stop making videos in the future. Anyway, like the video and comment if you disagree with any of the calls I made. Anyway, thank you guys so much, and have a great day.